With global uncertainties and local concerns shaping our future, the question is, where do we really stand and what lies ahead? Joining me now to discuss the state of the Bahamian economy is Gowon Bowe, CEO of Fidelity Bank. Good morning and welcome back to Bahamas at
Welcome
Sunrise.
back to you too.
Indeed. So, as it relates to the Bahamian economy, of course, again, people have questions, people have concerns, because this is really our financial future. Is the Bahamian economy truly growing?
The answer is yes. I think the problem is persons will look at growth relative to their own personal pocketbook. And that's natural and reasonable. So what persons will constitute in growth is saying, well, do I see my wages growing, even though I see prices growing? When we hear big headline numbers like GDP, the question is, how does that translate to me? So I think the best way of describing it is we do see growth on a macro level, but it's not trickling down to the extent that persons would like to see. And in order to have that trickle-down effect, two things have to happen. One, the growth rate has to be higher than what I'm going to say the lethargic growth that we've seen, certainly outside of the COVID rebound years. Okay. But the second one is we have to have a strategic plan, so the National Development Plan, which means that how are we upskilling persons to take advantage of their own economy? You can't look and say just because there is sand on the beach, you could pick it up if you don't have a bucket and a shovel, right? So if you're only using your hands, then you're limited to what you can carry. So I use that analogy only to say that we have to be more purposeful to say that, yes, the environment may be bountiful, but the participants in the environment have to be prepared and equipped in order to take advantage of it, or else we see others coming in and taking it.
So even though I guess the average individual may not be able to experience the growth is there. What do you think were the main drivers behind that growth?
Well, to be honest, I don't like to be too dismissive, but it's luck up to this point in time, right? And when I say that, we have the good fortune of geography in terms of close to the largest consumer market in the world. We have the natural assets in terms of the sun, the water, the beaches, etc. So tourism, we've seen that by virtue of, unfortunately, mostly on the cruise side. And I say unfortunately only because the stopover is where we see the biggest bang for the buck. And so from that perspective, I don't know that we've done anything that is so revolutionary to cause that. We've kind of lived off what we've already done. Yeah. So it's really luck in that sense. The reality is, though, we are poised with a little bit of collaboration. I'm going to say the dropping of this type of sort of division in terms of the political divide and even the social divide, and start working collectively towards one Bahamas, one voice, and one mission. So that's why I think the National Development Plan is so critical, because we can't continue to allow good fortune to drive us. We have to have a little more purpose and a little more design.
You spoke to the fact that, proximity really to the U.S. market is one of those things that helps us. And there are a lot of uncertainties as it relates to the global economy, as it relates to the U.S. economy, especially with the discussion of these tariff policies, et cetera. How do you feel like those, variables play into our economic future?
Well, I've used this sort of analogy. What we are experiencing right now is a hurricane warning when you have had no preparations for it, meaning that you're home, you don't have hurricane impact windows, you're not sure if you have hurricane clips on the roof, so you're buying plywood and praying for the best. And that's what we are in right now, because we're saying that all of this storm around us, the only thing we can do is batten down and pray. Yeah. If we take time to plan out, then we can put in the hurricane shutters, the hurricane windows. We can actually build a deeper foundation. We can strengthen and reinforce or build up. And that's on the next round. So these rounds, all we can do is batten up. But it should be a wake-up call to us. COVID was a wake-up call to us in terms of our readiness, in terms of technology and digitization, and really how would people survive in terms of their savings or lack thereof. The tariffs is a new lesson. This is telling us that these have always existed, but not to the extent that they are now. And as a consuming nation that doesn't produce, we're not at the table even talking about what these tariffs are and how these prices will operate. We are just simply accepting them. So if we're in that situation, we have to look at how do we become a bit more independent, food security, doing things that we can do for ourselves to sort of mitigate to the greatest extent possible. But right now, whilst government and others can speak about all wonderful opening up of new trade partners, new avenues, etc., that takes time. That doesn't happen overnight. And so we're going to have to ride this one out. I say to persons, you may not like Donald Trump, you may not be in favor of the United States, but we better be their biggest cheerleaders right now, because as they go, so do we.
That is such an important note, and we will end on that note, despite the fact that I have so many more questions. But thank you so much for just shedding a little bit of light on where we are and hopefully where we are going.
Always a pleasure.
And thank you for watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.